How's my hair look? Good. Today we're going to talk about drawers, the most important part of a piece of furniture that its intention is to hold something. Drawers are also helpful to identify the age, style, as well as the quality of a piece of furniture. So the most basic elements of our drawer are drawer front, drawer back, drawer sides, and the bottom. So you've got 5 components to make up your drawer. So one of the most common joints or an identifier is a dovetail joint on a drawer. You can kind of age a drawer, thus actually aging a cabinet as well, or a piece of furniture, by the joinery. Hand-cut dovetail joints were traditionally used up until about 1895, 1898, before large manufacturing companies switched over to machine-cut dovetails. The way you can tell is hand-cut dovetails are not as clean as the ones that are cut by machinery, as well as they don't usually have as many dovetails exposed. You may have 2 or 3 dovetails. These you see right here are all equally spaced, and you have quite a few dovetails in a row. So this was a machine cut. Doesn't mean it's an inferior piece of furniture. It just means that this wasn't made pre 1900 or late 1800s. Also, the cabinet makers back in the old days, they weren't really concerned about the quality of the wood or the type of the wood that they used for the drawer parts. Really, the only front part, or the part that they were worried about, was the front part, because that was the part that was seen. So the sides and the back and the bottoms were all secondary woods, usually made out of pine or poplar or spruce or something along those lines. And a lot of times it wasn't finished as well. You didn't have them really well sanded. They weren't necessarily stained. Sometimes they were waxed, but most of the time they were just raw pieces of wood. And because they were just hidden from view, and the only thing that was really important was the front of the drawer. Another tip also is to look at the bottom. So if you take out the very bottom drawer, look underneath. Older drawers usually the bottoms are darker, and then the top drawer, the bottom would be the lightest color. This is really more or less having to do how close to the ground the drawer is, will kind of dictate the less light exposure that the wood has, and also exposure to dirt and grime and things like that. So the darker the bottom, if the drawers have a graduated darkness to light, then you can tell this is an old drawer, especially they're also original drawers. Well, there you have it, the simple ways to identify the age of a piece of furniture that has drawers. So always look at the drawers. It's the most important part of the cabinet to identify the age.